The shop that Coach works was a dream that I had being a kid growing up on the farm. My little workshop that I had there when I built when I was 14 is having a shop, surround yourself with master craftsmen, and could make anything that we set our mind to. That's Coach Works.
Sabre Johnson here with Bob Smith, legendary coach builder, legendary Ferrari builder. I tell you what, if you want to be great, it's all about the small things. One small experience with Mr. Smith, you find out a couple of things. That he's certainly meticulous, and being meticulous in the small things, not the big things, but the small things.
We started from the upholstery shop. And
that was when you first started. Upholstery was like your home run pitch. That was your main.
That was what the company.
That was what you were known for.
That's what it started out.
Wow.
With, and going to college, I went to OSU Tech, and I have a degree in machine shop. And if I'd had a lot of money when I got out of college, I'd probably be in the machine tool business. But you know, starting the company with
we sure have you ain't have no money.
Still don't have any money. Have a lot of fun, but and starting the company with $50 and a $135 box of tools and no credit. It's 47 years ago. And I look back and I go, boy, where did the time go?
How about when you bring a, say, a P4 Ferrari, you bring this car in, how long does it take to build something as iconic as that?
Well, it can be anywhere from a year to 2 years, 3 years.
Years pretty fast. Yeah. You know, as intricate as you are, a year is like remarkably fast.
It goes by real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
But most of the...
It's not like you're building a Camaro. And you just pick up the phone and order all the parts.
It's not that easy. I pick up the phone, we order sheet metal to make a body.
Yeah.
I got to make a door, you know.
Yeah.
But and then other things that we send out is having windshields made, rubber stuff made.
Yeah. Like the one you showed me is going all the way where, England?
We don't.
Oh, Finland.
It's going to Finland.
Finland.
Mm-hmm. But having stuff made all over the world is, you know, it takes a lot of years to put together a network of people that you can trust.
Exactly.
So, and you try this person, and it's sort of okay, but you can't just be sort of okay. It's got to be right on.
Yeah. When you go to SEMA, one of the things that catches your attention are big old lifted trucks that are just sky high, and that you love all the manufacturers. Talk about SEMA and that show. And
end of October is when Padua is on. We're home for one day, and then we're off to SEMA.
Oh wow!
And going to SEMA is not just the trucks, but all the products there, and going for the equipment and tools and gadgets. And I'm a nutcase for all that. And then learning about new products, and then...
You say you like the hot new product showcase?
Oh yeah, that one's great. I mean, some of the stuff that you see there that comes out, you can touch it, feel it. It's not like looking on the internet or a catalog. And I bought equipment there every year I go. And a lot of the equipment manufacturers, if you make a deal at the show, it can be a huge savings. and not just have your hands on it, but you can hear it, feel it, see it, touch it, and you can. It's over the top. And then the other things is not just the trucks, but Hot Rod Alley and all the stuff that you can see there. But SEMA it's so huge, and there's so many things to see that before we go there, I've already got maps of all the halls and what things I want to go see first, second, and third. And there's no way you can see that in one trip.
Yeah, just it's over the top.
No, there's no way you can see it in 4 days.
Yeah.
But that show is one of my favorites. But it's not a mistake until it leaves the building. If you know it's a mistake and you let it leave, and it could be something that's tragic. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I say tragic, I'm talking about a safety issue. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm a nutcase about the way we go about doing the cars. First, they've got to be safe. Second, they've got to function and work. Third, they make it pretty. But sometimes you have customers there oriented and wanting to make it pretty and kind of make it function, but not make it safe. I'm not your guy. Mm-hmm. Explaining the process, the part's stripped, then it's got to be polished. Mm-hmm. To get rid of the pits, but if you have to polish it back too much, you lose the shape. Mm-hmm. So that has to be filled. Once you get copper on it, like we're doing there, basically the copper is primer or body filler. Okay, we strip it, polish it, it's copper, it's buffed, and it's nickeled, and it's chromed.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do every day.
Reading my list, because I'm one is about a list maker, and I make a list for the list. And
a list for the list?
Oh yeah, I work with 5 lists. Well, a lot of times, everybody's in a big hurry. You know, they say, well, how soon can you take this project? I said, well, I can start on it in about a year. I said, well, I can't wait that long. I said, it's okay. And then projects like a big restoration project, I said, well, I can start on it in a year. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go with it? In other words, you want to go to a rally or race or you want to do a show. And what do you want to do? And then I said, okay, we could take it in a year and get started. And we'd have it done in a couple of years. And if you want to go to this show or that show, we get into the project and then we can give you an exact date. Mm-hmm. Because what I see a lot of shops, they promise more than they can deliver.
Now you'll give a client a promise date. Mm-hmm. That adds a little pressure in the mix a little bit.
Well, you do it where it's far enough out that you've got time. Mm-hmm. You know, if you think, well, I can do this project in 2 years, and you get into it and you go, oh, it needs to be 3 years to make that date that you're
gonna if you're in it within 6 months and you know, I'm not saying you don't meet your deadline, but if 6 months in, you know whether you're gonna meet it or whether it's gonna have to be extended, right?
Exactly.
And if it has to be extended,
tell them now.
Mm-hmm. That way, we're not at the end.
Well, when we get close to the end and they get everything, hopes built up, this and that, and you disappoint them. That's
bad deal.
That's a train wreck.
Yeah.
But if they know ahead, says, hey, here's the situation. Here's what we're dealing with. And here's the timeline. And here's what we've got to do. And then I have a lot of customers that'll ask me, we'll be into a project, and they say, well, if I pay you more money, can you do it faster? And I said, well, I'll tell you what. Once you get on the internet and see if you can find anybody selling time in a bottle, and order a case of it, and we'll see what we can do. Because money doesn't buy more time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It takes the time.
Mm-hmm. Even if you took them and put them at the front of the line, it's still going to take time.
Exactly.
Not
Well,
that you would do that, but it's still going to take time.
well, if you put them at the front of the line, and you've got people that's been waiting for a year, 2 years, that's a train wreck.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Now you've hurt your integrity as
Exactly.
well. Yeah. The time to build a car, it's going to take what it's going to take.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you reason and how you deal with restoration versus this chop it up and make it something that's never been before? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, if you have a really special one-off car and you're going to cut it up and make a resto rod out of it, I think that's kind of sad. Mm-hmm. And I'm not against it. I mean, that's a whole different culture, maybe you want to call it, but it's not something that it's kind of cool in some of the creation things you can do, but one of the downsides is it's got electronics, which can be a big trouble. And how safe is it when you do some of the modifications? Because some of the stuff I see, they take one front end from this car or that car and they put it together and they do this and they do that, and it's going, I don't know how safe that'd be if it was in a crash. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can just go, I'm not going to say too far, but it gets out of control. Mm-hmm. And I see so many muscle cars that was in the 60s and early 70s. They put a hot motor in it out of something else, and it'll have horsepower, 800 horse or 1,000 horse, and the car had 300 or 400 horsepower when it was new, and it was plenty hot then. So why? Sometimes I just shake my head and just go, why? But everybody has their own. We talked earlier about dreams or whatever it is, mm-hmm. and if that's what you want, that's cool.
And we talk about,
but it's not something I would be interested in wanting to do for somebody.
I like that. I like the part about knowing your niche and knowing what you do. Let's come back a little bit deeper. Of course, I'm here on behalf of ARMO, the Automotive Restoration Market Organization, a council of SEMA that is committed to the preservation and promotion of the timeless beauty and history and rich automotive culture of these timeless pieces. How would you define restoration? What is restoration? What is it? What does it mean to restore a car?
That's a good question. I think restoration a lot of times is misunderstood, what restoration really is. And I see cars that they say it's been restored. Well, to me, what restoration means, you take every piece of that automobile apart. It's cleaned, repaired, replaced, and put back together by the way it was started life. And a lot of times we improve on a lot of areas, and most of the time,
most times it's going to be because of safety.
Well, safety and function's huge, but sometimes when certain cars were made, and what we learn with it, it may have, well, let's say like the brakes. Brakes are pretty important, and we might update something a little bit. You'd never know it by looking at it, but making it safer. This is like a lot of the engines. I mean, they'll look the same on the outside, but we may not put the original brand of pistons in it. We'll have pistons made that are Fords that are a lot better alloys and things. And other head gaskets are a big problem. Things of that nature will make it better, that it's going to last longer, and it's going to be safer. And then another one is fuel systems, and fuel lines, and especially with the gas with the alcohol in it, because the alcohol is kind of an enemy with old cars, because the alcohol eats up the Zamac, which is pot metal, in the carburetors, and other things that it causes. It eats up rubbers and eats up the fuel lines. So you have
It makes a mess.
it makes a big problem. And you have to deal with that. And we do certain things to fix that so it not becomes a safety hazard. It's with something. But putting the car back the way it started life, I think is important because you preserve it for future generations to see how it really is. And if you taking something and making a hot rod out of it, or retro rod, or whatever you want to call it, then if you have a car that's a one-off or just a few cars and you do that to you, spoiled that example.
Restoring a Ferrari to restoring some of the greatest Ferraris of all time.
Create whatever. You have to have a dream. And then you have to have a motivation, will drive. You have to have a passion.
Passion.
Well, a passion, but passion came later. But these are not any certain order. I'm just going to throw them out.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about that, and there's so many things about it. It's about don't promise more than you can deliver. Mm-hmm. Integrity.
Yeah.
And don't leave anybody behind. Your staff. You know, we talked about how all this happens to be greatness. I don't think I'm great. I just do my job. But you surround yourself with a great staff. And you take care of them. You take care of them, they'll take care of you. Mm-hmm. And when you fall on your butt, you're the one that fell on your butt. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You have no one to blame except yourself. If you're feeling pity, get over it. And then other situations are help your competition. Ask nothing in return. You help your competition, it'll make you better. And other situations are if you make a mistake, be the first one to admit it. Don't blame anybody else. If your staff makes a mistake, don't tear their head off. Help them, and they'll learn from it.
Talk about COVID and shutdowns, and that's affected, many businesses and all that. So on the one hand, how has your business been affected? On the other hand, what do you think about what's going on in the world? And then maybe I'm running out of hands. And then the third thing would be,
Okay.
Where's the industry headed? Because this is a touchy industry. We talk, we meet, we hang out, we drive cars, we cruise together. What are your thoughts about how COVID is affecting the industry and has affected the industry?
Well, the way it's affected the industry, and part of that is different parts of the country depending on where you are. I think, if you're states up north where there's more people in one spot, like New York City or Chicago or Los Angeles, I think those areas are going to be affected more than areas like in Texas. And what some of the ways they're affected is manufacturers, deliveries and getting raw materials, things that vendors do for you that they're shut down. And that's affected us a little bit, but we've never been shut down or stopped or had any situations. And basically, I think that's due to several things. We're pretty much street smart. We're not near a huge metropolitan area. There are some cases in this county, but it's not like it is in Dallas County or other counties near. And here we don't have a stream of people coming in and out like at the convenience store. Basically, it's the UPS and FedEx and DHL and the postman and the parts store and the paint store is pretty much it. The welding store.
Now the shows have been canceled.
Yes.
Do you think they're coming back soon? And if they don't come back anytime soon, how do you think that affects the industry and at least the morale of what we do? If there's no Pebble Beach, how can you showcase your car on the grass?
Well, Pebble Beach's schedule is still on. Amelia Island, that Concours is in March, and they pushed it to May. And Cavallino is January, and they pushed it to April. And some of the other shows they've pushed farther out. And I think the COVID thing at some point will be past. And the deal is people love to bring the cars. Mm-hmm. They love to, show them, brag about them, do rallies, do, drives and stuff like that. That'll come back.
Yeah. But you have a lot of things in the toolbox, and there's some young builders that are listening, some young manufacturers, or maybe they're manufacturers that's been doing it for a while, and maybe they're second or third generation. They want to expand themselves. What are some wisdom points? What are 2 or 3 nuggets that you've learned through the years that you can really deposit, and we can take it and run with it?
Well, if you talk to me very long about things, there's 4 words that I don't use. No, can't, ever, quit. If you set yourself up with those words in that order, you're setting yourself up for failure. And it's kind of like can't. Can't got his butt kicked, but could. No, I don't. When somebody tells me, or they're telling you no, what part of no do you not understand? It's the end part or the O part? And then can't is, I hear that so many times from so many people. And well, when I hear that over and over from people, when they say can't, they don't want to. They're lazy. And then ever is a word that's, how long will it take? It's going to take forever. I don't like that word. And then quit. If is quit anytime in your vocabulary, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And
so have a can-do attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Have a possibility mind. Think outside of the box.
Well,
and don't limit yourself. Think beyond the box.
Well, there's 4 levels of thinking.
Talk to us about it.
And this is the way I think about things. Is there's flat thinking, there's inside the box, and there's outside the box. Okay, and then it could be actually 5. It depends on the way you look at it. It could be 5. The next one is thinking outside the sphere. That's 4. 5 is thinking with no dimension.
I think, Bob Smith, there's no doubt about it. You definitely on level 5 when it comes to thinking.
I don't know about that. I've been accused of being crazy. And I said, hell yeah, I've been crazy all my life. Now what do you want to talk about?
I have enjoyed this time with Bob Smith, and I hope you have as well. You cannot walk into the rain and not get wet. You can't walk into the sunshine and not feel the rays. You cannot be in the presence of the amazing Bob Smith and not grow and not learn and not be inspired. Until next time, see you again. We'll talk cars, trucks, and all things restoration.
Coachworks has had the opportunity to restore the most famous Ferraris in the world. 856. That's the most famous Ferrari in the world. That's the people.
Came to Gainesville.
5575, 557, 1539. Enzo's personal Ferrari.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do every day.
Well, I'm still a janitor.